This is Prairie Boy's Dream here in Winnipeg. I did this piece shortly after doing the Canadian Embassy, and when I spoke to the CEO at the time, Art Morrow, I asked him if there was anything that I should think about when I was working on the piece. He rattled off maybe 50 different things, but the thing that really excited me was he talked about Investors Group being a prairie company born on the prairies and being very international. I wanted to make this piece completely about the Canadian prairie. And after that meeting, when I came down the elevators, which are immediately to the left of the piece, I walked out into the center space and envisioned these two pieces just as you see them here, rising up 35 feet. I felt that that was a very optimistic gesture, which is something that I wanted because there was a recession going on at the time. People were talking about cutbacks, and nobody was spending money. The title, Prairie Boy's Dream, I mean, that's all of us on the prairie who have dreams and ambitions and what it is that we wish to achieve. In this piece here, this is the piece in the foreground. The carving that comes out is done with laminations, and carving is sort of the personification of the prairie boy. But over his head are some triangular shapes that you might notice. The color is not different surrounding it. It's simply that the light hits it in a different way, and the triangles pop up. And I use those triangles in Japan, and I use them again in Prairie Boy's Dream, and they've kind of become a logo for me, and I use them in my work. In the upper right-hand side of it, there's a dark blue area, which is dichroic glass laminated to the base glass. In this mode that you're looking at it, you're seeing it blue, and it's transparent. When you see it from the front, it actually changes to gold and is reflective. Dichroic glass is a material that was originally designed by NASA. It reflects one color and transmits another, and it's really quite a magical material, and I use it a fair bit. This piece, I think, really shows the main things that I've been able to do, which is to take these massive pieces and to support them with steel and to create forms that really have never been done before. Okay, from Winnipeg we're going to Hong Kong. This is Lincoln House. The client was the Swire Group. This project is titled Kronos Trilogy, and there are 3 sculptures within it. This first piece is titled Vestige, and it deals with Hong Kong's past. And it is lit on the inside and it's lit on the outside. And in order to deal with the notion of time, I wanted this piece to work somewhat like a clock does, to have its own beat and its own rhythm. So I had the lighting computerized so that when the lights are at its brightest on the inside, they're at the darkest on the outside, and then slowly they reverse. So that what happens is that the whole piece changes when this occurs, and there is also some dichroic glass in there that reflects and transmits in different colors as the light changes. So every 87 seconds the piece changes. It goes through a full cycle, or 1/2 of a cycle, and then it reverses back. But in my work, I've kind of developed a bit of a language, and it, like language, symbols in different contexts take on different meanings. So the X's that I've used here have different meanings in different pieces. I like for my work to be contextual in that point. It always has to fit with its environment. This is the piece Vestige from the outside of Lincoln House. Here's a little bit of a wider shot. And all the buildings there are connected with bridges. And this Lincoln House was the crown jewel of their development. So entering into Lincoln House through the bridge, this is the way you see Vestige. There's another shot of it, and I took a few detailed shots of it, which I'm going to share with you right now. Oh yes, the sides are copper, yeah, real copper. This is Sea of Time, the second piece in Kronos Trilogy, and it deals with the present. Inspiration from it came from the notion that when you're in the present, the past and the future seem so far away that you are kind of lost in this sea of time. So I used a lot of sea analogies within this piece. It's 100 feet long, 27 feet high, and there are 17 structural steel columns supporting it. There's a detail of a dichroic section that's laminated and carved. Another detail of the far end of the piece. Here's a detail of a piece within a piece, and I guess this is kind of looking into the future a little bit. A lot of interesting perspectives to view this piece from. You'll notice that the X's here are yellow, and in other pictures of it at night, the X's are blue because, again, they're dichroic glass, laminated to the base glass. Some people, unfortunately, see as a weather balloon is actually a section of a clipper ship, and it's one of the few things, like I really love for my work being abstract, that people see different things in it, and that to me I think is a really exciting aspect of it. It allows you to connect with the viewers, and people tell me what they see in it, and sometimes I actually adopt those things and I talk about it, and yes, that's what it is. Here's a small detail, and I do like to have little clear areas within the glass. Most of my work is translucent. My colors tend to be very soft and muted. I don't often go for really bright colors, but I do love to work with transparency and to have little bits that you can see through here and there. You can see this is at night and the X's are now blue. The reason that it changes color is that during the day it's illuminated by the sun from the outside, and at night that there are a number of halogen lamps projected at it, so it changes color. And there are metallics in some of the colorants that I've used, which also start reflecting back. So it changes significantly from day to night. This is my old studio on Hargrave, and this was the color room. I really like this photograph because it shows the translucency of the glass. Here I am applying color to one aspect of Sea of Time. There are some parts of it. I could never do this on my own. I mean, I'm sure you realize that just looking at the scale, I'd still be working on the piece I did in Tokyo if I didn't have help. But there are some parts of it that I have to do myself. When I first came to the site, it was completely finished. It was immaculate. This whole mess was for Sea of Time. All the hoarding, there's 17 structural columns lying on the side. All the siding from the columns were torn down to erect the lights. We made a mess. We had to dig into, to tear up all the tiles to put the structural supports underneath. Unfortunately, the building was already built before my pieces came on board, so we had to actually retrofit the tiles and dig in. Here's a photo of some of the glass installation for Sea of Time. The installation crew were phenomenal. They were just so great. And they didn't speak a word of English, none of them, not one. In the end, everything came together beautifully.